And you are back. Hey, listen, so we're going to start this series that I'm going to do for about 3 weeks. The top 3 tips for each department. So it's going to be the top 3 tips for engineers, for singers, for musicians, and for pastors. Today we're going to start with my line of work, engineering. Want to learn something today? Let's go. Welcome to Midweek Service provided by the Church Sound Podcast. This is our version of tech news with your host, Prentiss Thompson. Have you ever wondered, how do I mic a drum set, or what about getting audio to my live stream? We're here for you. This is tech news, new product reviews, and everything you need to know about what you need to know. Welcome to Midweek Service.
You're going to learn today.
Yes, and welcome to another edition of the Church Sound Podcast, Midweek Service. I'm your host, Mr. Prentiss Thompson. What we do every week, we do product training, product application, and things that you need to know in your church to help your church move forward. Today, we're going to go over the top 3 tips for church engineers. Top 3 tips. So, let's start with numero uno. Numero uno. Numero uno is line check. You have to do line check. So in order to do line check, this is the thing that's the caveat for line check. The caveat for line check is you got to get there early. You got to get there before anybody else gets there. And what line check does, it allows you to check every line, just how, just like the word says, line check. I'm going to make sure every input is working, active, no problem, no buzz, no hum, doesn't need a battery. All my outputs, my wedges, my in-ears, my front of house, my subs, I'm making sure everything, all my lines are working perfectly. So when the praise band shows up, and when the praise and worship singer shows up, or when the choir shows up, I know that everything is working according to plan. So that's the first thing. So being punctual goes along with line check. So make sure you do line check. The second thing is gain staging. So what is gain staging? So every input, you have to set the gain. Really what it means is setting for how much input am I letting come into a specific channel. Why is that important? Because every channel is not identical. They look identical, but they're not identical in what's coming into the channel. For instance, I have a kick drum. I have a snare drum. I have a acoustic guitar. I may have electric guitar. I may have a mic cabinet from a acoustic guitar. Maybe singer 1 is a very dynamic singer, and singer 2 is a very whispery singer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the gain, which is at the very top of your channel, or maybe called trim, to allow enough output coming into that channel that allows me to get a really clean and stable level coming into the channel. So this way I can make sure I'm near unity. Unity is 0 on your board. On your fader, you may see on the fader, you may see a U, that stands for unity. I want to make sure I'm near that. I don't want to have my fader way down at 10 because my gain is up too high. So you do all of this in sound check. You want to make sure you do all of this in your sound check just to make sure that you're handling every input in its proper fashion. This way your sound will be even. You have enough volume for every input that you can manipulate and mix, which is what we do. Mix the sound to make sure it's pleasing to the audience. Number 3, EQ and compression. Now, what EQ is, it's really just volume for frequency. So right now I'm going to turn up 2K, right, in my voice. But let's do this. All right, don't talk to the engineer and me. Are you ready? Ready? All right, just flatten me out. This is me flat. All right. Now apply the EQ. Okay, and now bump it up to 2K. And warm me up at about 200. All right, so you hear the difference, right? So really what I'm doing is, and you can leave it right there, Pete, thank you. Oh, no problem, man. I'm glad I could help. So, I digress. So that's what EQ is. Compression is the control of the volume coming into your channel, meaning that I can set a level for how much compression I'm using. So you have your different factors, your attack, your release, your threshold, and your gain. These are all factors you use. If you really want to dive into more about compression, you can go back a bunch of episodes, and I really explain compression pretty thoroughly. So what it does is it allows me to keep my volume at a certain level. I may have a very boisterous singer, and this person is a screamer, and they eat the mic, eat the mic, and I want to maintain a certain level so this way they're not blowing my levels out. I want to maintain a certain level, so that I will compress them so that they don't go as loud, rather too loud, and I can control it without it sounding squashed. There's different techniques to that. So you want to make sure you have a clean understanding of EQ and compression. Let's go 3, 2, 1. 2 is I want to make sure I have good gain staging. I want to make sure my gain staging is good. So this way I have a lot more cleaner level or level playing field, if you will, for the mix. And then first is I want to make sure I line check. I want to make sure I get there early enough. I want to make sure I line check this way. What line check really does, it prevents problems from happening in front of everyone. Because if you have a problem and you don't line check, it's going to happen in front of our audience. And we don't want that. So there you have it. Top 3 tips for engineers, church engineers, for your worship service. I hope this has been a blessing to you. But before you get out of here, I need you to do something for me. Like, subscribe, review, and if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscription button and the notification button so when we go live, you know about it. I'm gonna say it like I always say it. I will see you in the Matrix.